My name is Elliot Glenn. This is my Fundamentals of Physics podcast. I have chosen to use my drum set to demonstrate some of the physics of drumming. I will talk a little bit about Newton's third law of motion, how it relates to drumming, and resonance and vibrations, how it relates to drums. Newton's third law of motion, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. This basically has to do with the striking of the head of the drum. When you hit the drum, depending on how tight you have the drum head, it will send a stick back up into the air. I'm going to demonstrate now with the snare drum, which is usually tuned at a very tight tension level, giving it a very solid surface where it doesn't absorb a lot of the strike, so the stick will bounce more. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm actually just dropping the stick, and all of the rebound, I'm letting that happen naturally. I'm not doing anything else to the stick. I'm not doing multiple strikes with my hand. I'm just letting the stick bounce on the drum naturally to demonstrate how Newton's third law of motion plays part in drumming. Okay, now I'll talk a little bit about resonance and vibrations. When you talk about resonance and vibrations of drums, this has to do with the tone of the drum. When you hit a drum, what it will sound like. That it all has to do with the vibrations and resonance of each drum. Resonance, you usually talk about tom drums. What I mean by resonance is when you strike the head of the drum, there's vibrations that occur within the shell of the drum, and that is what's known as its resonance. It gives it its own natural tone. A lot of things play part in this. It has to do with the type of head you have on the drum, how tight or loose you have the head. It also has to do with what the drum shell is made of, which is typically different types of wood. I have maple wood, which gives a very nice resonance frequency. That's something a lot of drummers look for, is very good resonance, because it makes the drum just sound better. It gives it a very nice tone. It's like the drum is singing, basically. The larger the drum, the lower the resonant frequency will be, and the lower tone it will give. Vice versa, the smaller the drum, a higher resonant frequency and a higher tone it will give. I'll demonstrate that with my tom drums. I have a 10-inch, a 12-inch, a 13-inch, and a 16-inch. I'll go from top to bottom, and you'll hear how the tone gets lower every time I hit the larger size drum. Okay, now as you heard, the tone declined every time I hit a larger drum. Vibrations also play a big part, they play the main part in the cymbals. Cymbals, after you strike them, they vibrate, which gives them the tone they have. I have a lot of cymbals, but I'm only going to play on two of them. I have a 14-inch cymbal here. I don't know if you can see it, but a 14-inch, and I have a 20-inch ride cymbal, which tends to be a very thick cymbal. The thinner and smaller the cymbal, the faster the vibrations of that cymbal will have, and thus the higher the tone it will have. And vice versa, a larger, thicker cymbal will produce slower vibrations and thus a lower tone. Okay, so that is how these cymbals work. Depending on how they're made, that will depend on how long or how short they vibrate, and that will give them the tone they have. Okay, so a quick recap of what I just demonstrated. Newton's third law of motion, that has to do with how the drum rebounds the stick back into the air after you hit it, and resonance and vibrations, that has to do basically with what the drum sounds like.